presidential election, he was seen with Ruto as one of the coalition partners, like whatever. His party supported Kenya Kwanza regime. And it means a lot that when at the 11th hour is now against Ruto, it means that there is something is not right. Whatever he has revealed is betrayed by his past politics. That's my position. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Can I respond to him?
Yes, respond.
Dr. Mjulu, there is something I want you to know. No one is taking sides, or no one is supporting Jimi. Our stand is that we are using the information that he has, because no one is refuting the information. So don't kill the messenger. Let's focus on the message for now. Let's dissect and find alternative. Thank you.
No. I think you didn't get me right. I was trying to pass a message here that the message that is out there, the message that we got from Jimi Wanjigi, it is coming from the wrong messenger. The message is coming from the wrong messenger.
Doctor, let me ask you something. Simple, yeah? If someone tells you today that tomorrow Kenya is going on default, okay, will you be checking on the message, or you will start scrutinizing the messenger? Which one will you be doing?
If an enemy of this country, if an enemy of Kenya, for instance, Al-Shabaab, tells me that your government is falling because it is in economic debt, like it is in serious debt, will I listen to Al-Shabaab first? Or will I dismiss him upfront?
I don't understand how you have classified him in that as an Al-Shabaab. I don't understand how you have actually... See, I'm not supporting Jimi. As I said before, I'm trying to focus on his message, which I have verified through a lot of different speakers and financial advisors. I've taken my time to go through the government websites. I've gone through the auditor's report, Lidongo. This Nancy, I've gone through a lot of other avenues, and I've not seen a single person who has come out and refuted what Jimi Wanjigi has said. So all things we are hearing from the government bloggers, including you probably, is going onto personalities, politics, and all that. Put politics aside for a second and focus on the message. That's my play. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. Now, I have a question to Dr. Ignatius, because we are here to actually try to find our way out of the situation we have been for sometimes now, almost 10 years. The question I posted before was, where have we been with all this issue of debts? From 2013, Eurobond, all the way. Who is holding our money? Where are we currently? And what is the next thing? Dr. Ignatius, what is your opinion about where our debt situation is currently? And who is holding our money? Because currently, as things stand, we have almost lost a lot of money that has gone to the private pockets. Kindly, please, you can respond. Then we hear the next speakers. Then, of course, you can always post your questions there. We will be able to read, and then they will be answered appropriately. Dr. Ignatius, kindly go on. Dr. Ignatius? Okay. Femibad?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, you can.
Yes, I'm here.
Where are we with our debts? Who is holding our money? And what is the next move?
I'm not against that what he said. Neither am I disagreeing or agreeing with what he said. The question I am posing is, if Wanjigi is the one who helped Ruto and Uhuru secure freedom from ICC, what makes him right now, or what is that character that can say he's not doing this to secure a position coming 2027 or 2032, I think. If Ruto goes for 10 years, how many years will that be? What makes us think that he is not doing the same thing to secure a position? Maybe it was a deal between the three. So whatever he says be true, but must be true. It's a marketing strategy. What are you wanting to hear? Is that not what we are being said? And structure. So we go to the spaces where there are no controlled structure.
What's happening?
I think that
Dr. John, are you able to hear?
I can't hear myself.
yeah.
Those on the mic, please mute.
Yeah, Dr. Nyango, you can pick it up from there.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, those on the microphone, please mute as we wait. We wait for our turn to speak. Maybe just for context as we move on. Jimi Wanjigi, as I said as we began, we're not discussing the personality. We are not much interested in the personality of Jimi Wanjigi. What arouses our interest are the things that Jimi Wanjigi has brought to light. Let's take, for example, this issue of SGR. Jimi Wanjigi has talked about this issue of SGR from the time they disagreed with the Ruto government. And he said, this is what we were agreed. This is how SGR was supposed to be done. It was supposed to cost about, did he say around 60 billion? But it ended up costing much, much more. Nobody has come out to clear the air and to tell us what Jimi is telling you about SGR is not true, or these are the facts and these are the facts. Right now, several weeks down the line, since Jimi started talking about this issue of public debts and odious debt and all these things, nobody has come out from the government, even though we didn't have CSS at that time. But the ministry, the treasury is not short of people. The PS is there. The central bank is there. The Kenya Revenue Authority is there. The Office of the Auditor General is there. The Office of the Controller of Budget is there. None of them must come out to speak to tell us, no, listen, this guy is lying to you. These are not facts. Nobody has presented to us alternative facts so that we can be able to counter what Jimi has said. So what interests us these days to say these things that Jimi is saying, could it be that it is true? And if it is true, do we really have a country here? If we are to continue at that rate, where will we be 10 years from now? So let us really just make it as objective as possible. Whether Jimi wants to be a politician or not, whether he wants to be president, I think that is another story. We can make a space another day to come and discuss that. But today, these things that Jimi are saying from our perspective as members of the public, we have experts here who can be able to dissect these figures for us. Let us make it as objective as possible without necessarily going into personality issues with the Jimi Wanjigi.
But Dr. Let me ask you this. Will it be, if something is not of public interest, do you think people will give it time to discuss about it? If we make it a public subject, they will have to respond to us. But if we don't make it a public debate, do you think they will respond?
They will not. That is why we have, so I think that is why the host thought it wise to put up this space so that we can make it an issue of public interest. We can talk about it and we can begin to demand answers. Actually, if they don't respond this time, I think it is high time people write to them, seek responses to them and demand to know. Kenyans should demand to know these allegations have been put forth as members of the public, as taxpayers, people who finance this economy. We want to know the position of the government concerning what has been said. Yeah.
And that is why That is why I'm saying we need to demand Jimi to come to the public and engage us before we can start asking questions from the institution. These are strategized questions when he is on the media platform. We want him on the space. He says he has been funding the space. Let him come to the space, give us data, give us evidence, and then we can discuss from there. Just hearsay is not enough for us to go out and demand answers to the question. Let him table what he has, the document he has. Then we can criticize the document. Then we can demand. But without that, whatever he's saying is just hearsay.
Thank you very much, Femi. Whatever he says is just hearsay. Of course, as I say, we are all discussing this thing from possible issues, so all opinions are welcome. Let me move on to hear somebody else about this. Kuna mtu anaitwa Methali.
Hello, Dr. Can you hear me?
Yes, Methali. Karibu sana. Please go ahead.
Yes. As you've mentioned, with removing the emotion aside of the Jimi Wanjigi person and looking at the facts of our public, I've taken some time to research on where Jimi is coming from. I've taken initiative to look at the Treasury budget books that are public to all of us in treasury.go.ke budget. It outlines all the appropriations that have been passed in the last. We have approved 2 trillion Kenyan shillings in the last 10 years from the last regime. Before that, we had a carryover of 2.3 from Kibaki. So he's right. What has been passed in law was 4.3. What we've borrowed more is the 6 trillion that he's talking about through domestic debt. And domestic debt in simple terms is treasury bills and treasury bonds. Just as an example today.
Can help us reach our full potential in sport
and in business. And a 2023-17 year loan. So CBK sorted to collect 50 billion, but the whole country ran, and banks, parastatals, individuals, pensioners, they went and put money towards that 50 billion, and they've raised 156 billion as of today. It's on the CBK website. It's public for all of us. The reason that debt is keeping on growing and it's not coming down is because CBK is keeping on reopening old bonds, and people are jumping on and buying them. So that is one gap that we are having. And the reason why they are opening these IFBs are infrastructure bonds, and Jimi said them on TV yesterday, if they're not in the budget or they're not in the Appropriations Act that was passed last year, what are they going to fund? Because they're not funding a borehole, they're not funding roads. What they are funding is salaries. As we speak, the last 12 months, we only collected 2.1 trillion in revenue. Our debts last year were 1.56, just rounding off to 1.6. 70% of what we are collecting goes to pay debt. 30% is what we are left with to go to county governments and to go to paying salaries. So the first charge in every revenue that's collected by KRA and pushed to CBK for the control of budget to push out to the ministries is debt. So if 70% of what we collect goes to pay debt first, we're only left with probably 300 or 400 billion left to pay salaries. And currently, as we know, I heard in a different forum, Dr. Kuro Okot, the constitutional lawyer who drafted up the constitution, they are trying to draft a bill called Punguza Mizigo, right? Right now, our salary stands at 1.1 trillion. So where is the domestic debt coming in? So we borrow domestically, which is against the constitution, because in the PFM laws of our constitution, section 15, subsection 2C says clearly we only borrow for development and not recurrent expenditure. Recurrent expenditure means we cannot borrow domestically to repay loans. We cannot borrow to pay salaries. So over the last 10 years, we have been borrowing money to sustain our huge wage bill of 1.1 trillion, because once we pay debt, we don't have any money left to pay salaries. So what does the government do? They borrow domestically through bonds and bills, but they use the terms infrastructure bonds. But those infrastructure bonds cannot be located on any appropriations act for development. So I think that's where Jimi is coming from, to understand where have we paid in the last 10 years? We've had a budget, we've had an expenditure budget of 14.6, but we've collected from hard untaxed money 13.3 trillion. We should be having a deficit of 1.3. It comes down to the domestic debt. None of the appropriations acts in the last 10 years have ever approved domestic borrowing to go to any funding in government, any funding in development. So that is where the gap is. And this debt is going to keep on growing and growing and growing. As we speak, the next 11 months till the end of June next year, we owe 1.8 trillion in external and domestic debts. And if we're only collecting 2.1, 2.2, that means in the next 12 months to June 30th, 2025, life is only going to get harder. And that's why you're seeing Kendra wants to create toll stations on the Southern Bypass, Thika Superhighway, Eastern Bypass, a way to collect revenue because the finance bills were rejected by the Court of Appeal. So they're finding ways to add taxation, because if the finance bills were rejected for 2023 and 2024, what ways can the government find ways to collect money? But I feel like it's only going to get tougher in the next 12 months. So removing the emotion aside, whether Jimi is right, who he was before as a person, we're going to hit 80% of what we collect going to debt repayments. And we're not in a good place, to be honest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Methadi, for giving us a very good context there. I want to move to there's someone on this space. I can see on the mic, Frederick. Frederick, if you can hear me. Okay, seems Frederick is not able to hear. What about George?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, please, take it away.
You know, there's something I don't understand with the people. I don't know if I regard their government bloggers or something. You know, even if your enemy comes and tells you that your wife is cheating on you, and go and check on CCTV on such a hotel at this time, you will know that your wife is cheating on you. Then suddenly you just decide and say, I know you're my enemy. I'm not going to check. You just want me to separate with my wife. That is stupidity. That is total stupidity. Kenya is crawling on its belly. We can't even afford to pay teachers or government, all the government officers. We can't even pay salaries. We can't even manage anything. And someone is telling us where our money is going. We are paying debts which we should not be paying. It's odious. And now, instead of looking at what he's telling us, some people are coming and telling us how Jimi Wanjigi did this and that. We don't give a fuck what Jimi Wanjigi did with or what. What we want to know, is it true that we are having odious debt? Is it true that there is some money which has been used or taken without our knowledge? Or has been used without approval of the parliament? That's what we really want to know. Since Jimi Wanjigi started talking about this thing, no one has refuted. The government is silent. The government bloggers are now just talking. Oh, will you vote for Jimi as the president? We don't care about his presidency. Let's work on what he's saying first. Let's know, do this debt genuine, or are we being duped? And if we are being duped, what should we do? Because let me tell you, this thing has made me, even me, I'm telling myself, I'm not going to pay tax, even if they are going to take me to jail, until I know the truth. How am I going to pay my tax? And yet, there are thieves who have eaten over 6 trillion. And they don't want us to talk about it because Jimi Wanjigi have raised the card. Jimi Wanjigi was one of them. He knows what happened there. So if Jimi Wanjigi is lying, the government should come out and tell us, oh, Jimi Wanjigi is lying. This is the evidence. Don't start telling us about personal things about Jimi Wanjigi. That is you. And we don't know where you and Jimi Wanjigi met and maybe got angry to each other. That's not our business. Our business is how much are we supposed to pay, and how much should we ignore? That's it. We want our country back. We want Mama Mboga to get something to take home. We are hurting, man. There are people who can't even afford. Like me, I'm a taxi driver. I used to make 8 to 10,000 a day. 8 to 10, believe me. Now I can't even reach 3,000. And someone here is talking about Jimi. I want to know, why am I paying a debt which there's no any project which has it has not paid any project around. I'm so bitter with people who don't want to talk facts. They just want politics over and over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, George. The rage is well understood. Actually, we are in a deep financial problem. Yeah, we are in a crisis. It's heavy. If you look at what is happening in our public universities, for example, today you saw the University Academic Staff Union issue a strike warning that if their issues are not sorted out, then they will go on strike in September, because our universities are broke. Yeah. Universities cannot pay salaries. Our students, the new funding model we are talking about, students are suffering. Students are suffering, lecturers are suffering. Yeah? I tell you, I work in a university, in a public university, and we were paid 65% of our salaries on 14th of the month. Yeah? You wait for your salary until mid-month, and you get 65% of it with a memo that the government has reduced capitation to the university for salaries. So the university could not be able to pay 100%. So they pay 100% for the lower cadres, the junior employees. Then for people on the higher cadres, they were paid only 65% of their salaries. Where the rest, the remaining percentage is going to come from, or when, is not known. Yeah? For the last, since this year began, I think for almost 1 year, I think it was at the end of the financial year when most universities paid salaries on time. They were paid on first. And on first of the month, everybody was surprised, why have we been paid so early? Because they're used to getting their salaries any time of the month, even up to 20th, or even several months after. That is just one sector. Look at what is happening in all these other public sectors. Yet somebody comes out and tells you, hey, you're not suffering because you don't have money. You are suffering because there is money that has even been borrowed, but cannot be traced to any single project. Right now, as we speak, our movement, the Gen Z movement after the revolution, the Finance Bill 2024-2025 was thrown out. The courts have declared the 2023-2024 Financial Finance Act unconstitutional. that means the government is now being asked to go back to the finance bill of Uhuru Kenyatta of 2022. Why are all these things happening? Jimi also attempted to explain that, to tell us that we're supposed to have both not only expenditure forecast, but we're not also supposed to have revenue statements. And that was one of the grounds upon which those court rulings were made. So what really is happening in our financial sector? Are we really safe? Irrespective of the personality or the person of Jimi Wanjigi and his political interests, the things he is telling us, are we really safe financially as a country? Mwaura.
Excuse me. Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, asante sana, Daktari. Let me first of all thank you for giving me the mic, and for you, thank you for hosting the space. And this is a very, very thorny issue, and an issue that we need to take all the seriousness we can gather to discuss it. We cannot be paying for debt that we never incurred, a debt that was also borrowed. That money never came to our country, and yet we are paying it. We cannot do that. That's the reason as to why we are being taxed right, left, center. The only thing that's now remaining is to be taxed the oxygen that we breathe in Kenya. Now, there's somebody who has said something about Jimi Wanjigi. You see, we know Jimi Wanjigi who he is, definitely. But it doesn't matter who he is. I don't look at the messenger. I look at the message. And the message that the Wanjigi is saying is that kuna pesa hatakiwi kulipa na tumelipa madeni yetu yote. So for somebody to come here and start saying, oh, Jimi Wanjigi this, Jimi Wanjigi that, let's forget about, let's keep that on aside. Whether walikosana kina Uhuru, kina Ruto, whether he put Ruto there, it doesn't matter. After all, it is the Kenya voters, because we are tribal that voted for these people in 2013. So Jimi Wanjigi anakujia wapi? After all, they even took the project that was Jimi Wanjigi's brainchild project, that is SGR, from Mombasa to Nairobi. But that one aside. And number two, that somebody has said that Jimi Wanjigi should come here and table all the evidence. Let me give that person a simple advice, and anybody who is listening to me here, that go to the website of Kenya Central Bank, go and take all the loans that we have borrowed since 2013 up to 2023, all those loans, see what parameters approved, see where that money has gone. And it is tens and tens and tens of pages. It is that what Jimi Wanjigi has compiled. It's not an easy work. Sio kazi rahisi vile watu wanafikiria. He has compiled all that, and he has come to a conclusion that we have overpaid our debt, and in fact we should get a refund. The same opinion that is being held by Busia Senator Okia Omtata. So nobody should start come here and telling that idea should tap the evidence. He is to account more than 2 papers. This is something that you need. That's there are hundreds and hundreds of documents. So if you are a government blogger and you are coming to our space, please just listen and go and report to your masters. Don't tell us here, we are suffering. People are suffering. People are dying in the hospitals for lack of medication. University people have been not paid. Our children, some children are at home because the fee has been hiked to hell. We are being taxed everywhere on anything and everything. You see, there is no employment. You see, so let's be serious on this issue. I'm supporting Wanjigi 100%. If the government thinks that what Wanjigi is saying is not true, is not correct, can they give us the correct position using document? Can they table the document and tell Wanjigi and Kenyans, oh, you listen to me, you Wanjigi, you are saying that we have overpaid our debt by let's say even 10 shillings. No, if we didn't pay for it, this is the evidence, and we will all be satisfied. Lakini mambo ya kutuzuga, this is what we don't want. And I see that all this what is happening to Wanjigi is the government trying to silence him, because this is somebody who has been an insider. He knows these people inside out. Kwazia Odinga, Kwazia Ruto, Kwazia Uhuru. So let's get this document. I'm hoping that Wanjigi will take this case to court and everything will be tabled in public, because this is our money. We cannot be let me give you an example. Let's talk about the Euro that was borrowed. The 2 billion US dollar was borrowed in 2014. And do you know that money never came to Kenya? They even had to amend Article 206. You know, before the government could not take out any money unless they take it from the consolidated fund. But in order to allow them to steal the money of the Eurobond, they amended Article 206. They added C and D, which was not there, and said that the money can be taken elsewhere for other things. And you remember, it is only about 300 million that came. 600 million, they said, oh, Kebake alikuwa amechukua roni tukalipa huko Ulaya. The remaining 1 billion, it is sure that it left in New York Bank. I think it was I don't remember which bank was this in USA. And when it left there, it is not known where it entered. Haikukuja Kenya na nini. So that money, you can only say that it was stolen. But the 600, they say that it was bought by Kebake. They paid it. If it was actually paid, it was the debt of Kebake. What had they to amend Article 206? So let's be serious with this issue. This is a matter of life and death. It's a matter of we, our children, and our grandchildren. Asante sana daktari. Na naumia sana kusikia bloggers wa serikali wakija hapa kupayuka hapa. Thank you.
Asante sana Mwaura for that. I want to quickly hear from Japonji, then 3.0. Then we'll begin to drop as we lift up more speakers from the. We have a lot of requests coming in. So Japonji can go first, then we'll take from 3.0.
Thank you, Daktari. Daktari, I just wanted to respond to the few speakers who are talking about lack of information, like which cannot be verified. Most of us in this, before coming here, there's something that triggered us to come here. And if we're taking this conversation like political, then we better change the topic, because we are talking about the evidence that was brought in by Jimi Wanjigi. And if you guys were keen and listened to what he said, he was just amplifying what already has been said before. How many people have been saying the same thing? Okiya Mtata has a case in court for against Ruto, when he said that the approval of the budgets was unconstitutional, and that's why the courts rejected. So we are dealing with a regime and parliamentarians who went ahead and passed the bills that were unconstitutional, finance bills, So we are forced to use the finance bill for 2022, if I'm not wrong. So you realize that these guys, they don't have any other option but to increase the taxes as we speak through their odious means in the parliament for passing some legislations against us without participation of the public. And one of them, they're planning to increase the bills, increase the taxes because they don't have money. That's why the CS today for finance was meeting with the World Bank representatives, and exactly what was being prophesied. If you have some time, all the listeners here, please, if you can hear me, just take your time, go listen to the exit interview of the former PS for finance and listen to what he was saying. Then you will understand that what Wanjigi is trying to say, what Okiya Mtata is trying to say, all of them relate, and that's why we are here. It will be so naive for someone to come to this space without prior knowledge of what we are talking about, so that we can start from zero. I mean, co-host, you have a lot of job, but I will drop the mic for now, and I'm looking forward to getting informed also, especially in the matters of legislation and the finance bill, PMF acts, and all that. Thank you so much. I'll drop the mic for now.
All right, thank you so much, Japonji. As you rightly pointed out, we are weighty issues here that we are talking about, and your inputs are much appreciated. Web 3.0.
Yes, how are you? Thank you a lot for this opportunity. Am I audible?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yes, mine is a combination of basically agreeing with what people have said here concerning Jimi Wanjigi and informing people, but also having a rant, because the state of Kenya, for those few of us in the know, when you work with data across, cross-governmental data across the planet, and you get to be placed at a place where you kind of access a lot of sensitive data, one of the key things that starts to piss you off as an African is the amount of pillage occurring and Like only 3% of the population knows. The rest 97 who are the voters don't know, and they get along. They just go about their lives. So the first thing about Jimi Wanjigi, I would say, let's not focus on the messenger. Let's focus on the message. I always say that even a broken clock is always right twice a day. So the message Jimi Wanjigi is conferring is actually the most filtered version of how much money is being stolen from us. On this issue of debt, I think we need someone who can come in and pursue, all the legal means like Malaysia did, and get us out of this issue. The problem, I think, is we also tend to talk about Ruto going, and I may be blamed, or people may come at me with knives on this, but I always say when you are starting to wage a war with someone, always do not underestimate your enemy. And we've underestimated Ruto for so long. I had a chance of knowing him through people who know him very well in 2014, 2015, knowing his entire background, his path, his thinking, and his template for actions. And Ruto is what basically we usually call a grifter. Someone who will say everything you want to hear, but they are taking everything from your child's mouth. So that's who basic Ruto is in the scheme of things. On top of that, he has tendencies not just a psychopathy, like killing even his own people who are his own witnesses. So we are dealing with someone who, if we underestimate, this guy has a political intelligence to bury everyone. Like, seriously. So we need to re-strategize. That's why even long-term, like even I've shared some tools on this thread. Like, people need to be using VPNs, those who are in Kenya, because this is going to be a long-haul fight. Sioni vile Ruto atatoka haraka, because when you do a careful analysis of his evolution, he's using the Putin playbook. Come in, do a few good things, talk good, but then the majority of what you're doing is detrimental to your nation. And he's really going to suppress people going forward that he has a air cover from now, Raila. So we need to be very careful of that. On the other issue, people were asking where all this money is going. And I want to shock you. In Kenya, we keep saying, people are billionaires, people are billionaires. What you guys don't know is in Kenya, we have 4 trillionaires. I mean, 1,000 billion shillings. And we know a billion is made of 1,000 million. So we have people in Kenya, 4 of them, who are worth a trillion. That's basically, I would call them families. That's the Uhuru and Kenyatta family. Their net worth is estimated to be anywhere from $25 to $50 billion. The estimate is given like around $35 billion. Assets are spread across the planet, the first pillagers of Kenya. The second one coming in is actually funny. People think it's Moi. It's not. Moi did not have the chance to invest on a mega grand scale. The second person is the current person in President Ruto. Between 2013 and 2023, his net worth also increased from around 5 to 19 billion shillings, or Cint estimate, to around 700 billion. Rising across the planet, owning from skyscrapers in Singapore to mega ranches in Australia. Right now, Ruto is estimated to have stolen another 500 to 700 billion. So that puts him over $1 trillion. The other 2 are not people who have really used the government, but they've used shadowy means. That is Harun Mwau, and the other one is Humphrey Kariuki. Both of them estimated to be worth $12 billion. That's around 1.5 trillion each. So those are the 4 trillionaires in Kenya. So when you ask me where money is going, we can trace 2 people, Ruto and Uhuru. Uhuru family, obvious from the entrenchment, but also Ruto coming in. And there's a statement he made to his close circuit friends in 2013, if you really want to understand the template Ruto is using. And he said, Iluweze kubit Kiambu Mafia, you need to be richer than all of them combined. That includes the Kenyatta family. So Ruto is on a path to steal around 6 trillion to 10 trillion. And I'll put in context of the Indonesian family, the Suhartos, who ruled like for a very long time in Indonesia until a revolution came and took them out. When an audit was done, this was the 80s and 90s and 70s, when they stole all our money. they had stolen over $60 billion. Indonesians could not believe. And I think the same will happen when we do a thorough audit of global assets. Now that global regulations are coming in, where you disclose shell companies and all these things, we'll be shocked the amount of pillage that has occurred in Kenya. So let's not be fooled by Uhuru. He's been the purveyor of his family's injustices in Kenya. He gave them the air cover. And also, let's not be fooled by Ruto. So I would warn people on that. The other one is, I think getting Ruto out of power may be a very long process. This guy is right now scheming, and he has the resources to buy just about a lot of people that we may think our allies. We've already seen it happen. So strategize yourself for the long term. Some of the basic things is ensure your security. If you're in Kenya and they track you through IP, have a VPN. Do you have access to, to things, be very careful about sharing phone numbers with people and all that, because some of these people, even on this chat as we talk here, they embed every space always as someone listening in. So for me, it's like, as we tackle this issue of debt and the question of whoever can come in and how we can pursue this issue legally, and we have LSK launch a working group where we start going through this and seeing if we can launch a case with the, against the IMF and all these people who have allowed this odious debt to occur. So we need to start somewhere as citizens, but at the same time, those who are really on the forefront and upcoming activists, you need to be careful. Do not underestimate Ruto. That's just my message. Thank you.
Do not underestimate Ruto. That is the clear message from Web 3.0 as we move with the discussion into the second hour. We're going to be bringing up more speakers. I can see a lot of requests coming in. For now, kindly allow me. This is just to say, that this is just the beginning of these conversations, and we are going to have many more, because the issues the issues that Jimi is raising are technical. We need to understand them. Once we understand them, we need to investigate. We need to interrogate and be able to see where the truth is. Then we can be able to even take the message to the people in a language that they can understand, so that every Kenyan gets to understand. I can see on the dash there's going to be another space tomorrow where we will be our host Marge will be taking us through another level of into this discussion, dissecting Jimi Wanjigi's expose on and a call for good governance. So we are going to have more of this. And as we said, we don't care who Jimi is. We don't raises about the fiscal management of our country. How can we, what do we make of them? So thank you. Let me give it up to, Revolution has been here before. Revolution, before I bring it, would you want to make a comment?
Mine will actually
the speaker panel.
Mine will actually be very, very brief. I think most speakers have spoken exactly what I wanted to say, and I will only need 2 minutes. What I will say is, based on what Jimi Wanjigi said, it seems that there's a lot of money in Kenya. And a lot of money was taken in form of loans illegally, which Kenyans did not approve. So to summarize this in a simple sentence, I want to say that the burden of repaying those loans that have ended up in these corrupt politicians' pockets, should not fall on the shoulders of innocent Kenyans. They must be held accountable. Those people must return that money. We don't need to pay for the services or the money, which we never saw what it did. It really comes down to corruption and accountability. I'm going to give a quick example. The other day yesterday, the president going to Kisii and launching a cancer center, which has already been launched 2-3 years ago by somebody else. That tells you something. That's a loan was taken. We were already paying for it. So all I'm saying is there's no other way out. We must do right and restore the trust of Kenyans. That's all.
Thank you very much. Dr. Jom, I don't know if you have anything to say before we move to the next speaker. Oh, okay, sorry. I think he has already dropped. Thank you very much. Let me have Western Shilaho. I see your hand is up. Then we come to TMP.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Hillary. And all people on this platform. Fellow compatriots, I want to say one or two things. One is that we are not going to win this struggle if we elect to behave like the very, very people we are ranged against. What do I mean by this? William Ruto and that establishment is averse to dissent, is averse to criticism, is averse to independence-mindedness. So when I hear people say Jimi Wanjigi should not be criticized, I ask myself, how different is that mindset from the mindset of William Ruto or Raila Odinga or Uhuru Kenyatta or the establishment as a whole? Because it is about accountability. And if it's about accountability and good governance, then there are no sacred cows. You can't say, no, Jimi Wanjigi said this and therefore cannot be criticized. Well, we can do both. We can appreciate his expose, at the same time, hold him accountable. That's what complexity is all about. It's not just you have to do one thing. We can do both and much more, which why I put it to you. If William Ruto was to listen to us, some of you are saying Jimi Wanjigi must be placed on a pedestal because of the revelation. And in any case, he's not told us what we don't know. These things are in the public domain. William Ruto is going to prevail. He will prevail because our politics will not be transcendental, will not be any superior to his politics. Politics of sacred cows. These people cannot face the law. These people must face the law. DPP spare those people. Ethics spare those people. That is the politics they play. So if we play the same politics, given that he has got the levers of power, it's a no-brainer that he will prevail. Our politics must be clean, based on accountability, the rule of law, constitutionalism, and it must not have any sacred cows. Jimi Wanjigi is part of the establishment. For those who don't know, his father was a Moi-era cabinet minister. For those who don't know. And it is said, I'll remind you, behind great fortune, there's great crime. And this adage holds true in Kenya. It does. It's a no-brainer. So, Jimi Wanjigi, in another jurisdiction, he would be revealing those things as a star witness in a court of law, as an insider. What is it that you know? The other day, there was a report that the government paid him millions. I don't know what he supplied. He's been mentioned in Anglo-leasing scandal, the Kibaki era. You can't forget these things and just focus on William Ruto. You can't. If you do that, he will prevail. Because you are as selective as he is. To outsmart him, we must be wedded to values. Values. And we must stigmatize everybody in our midst.
We are talking about the debt. The debt is the one we are talking about, bro.
Of course. It's
we are
the
talking
debt.
about the debt of Kenya. It's not about Jimi Wanjigi.
No. Listen to me. It's the debt I'm talking about. He came up with an expose about the debt. And this does not preclude people from holding him to account. It doesn't. Which I'm saying, it's complexity. We cannot just do one thing, focus on the debt. We can also focus on you as about your history. Because it's the establishment that's rotten. It's not about William Ruto as an individual. It's about William Ruto's part of a rotten establishment. Daktari, please, let's get it clear. If we don't sharply frame this struggle, well, they will prevail. I promise you. They will prevail. So don't gag people. Don't gag anybody. It's a free society, constitutional right, freedom of expression. If somebody feels you defamed me, you can seek recourse in a court of law. But don't gag anybody. That's what Moi did. That's what Kenyatta One did. And those subsequent people did that. We dare not take that route. Because we're not going to get out of this morass. We will not. Before you realize divisions will set in. So William Ruto will say, okay, people are criticizing me and they're very soft on Jimi Wanjigi. Okay, on what basis are you criticizing me? Are you criticizing me on the basis of my tribe? Are you? You will go on to ask that question. Because they know these people have made cut deals. Jimi Wanjigi has confessed that the URP and the Uhuru Kenyatta party, the pact was sealed in his house. You people know that. It was sealed in his house. That's how entrenched in the sanctum of power in Kenya he is. So to try and say, no, he said this and these things, please don't ask those questions. It's reductive, completely reductive. And we're saying the politics we want to establish in Kenya going forward should not have room for that. Should not have room for sacred cows. Should only have room for accountability. You are my friend. You are a friend of Kenya to the extent that you advance the collective well-being. You are a friend of Kenya. But you are not a friend of Kenya because you expose the rot by the very, very people with whom you open up at night. We don't do that. So please, we're talking about the debt. But at the same time, we're putting faces on the debt. It's not something that happened from Jupiter. The people are responsible for that. We have to mention them. Thank you.
Great Western Silaho, I think that's the right name. Now, one thing we're gonna need to appreciate, because actually the main agenda as to why we had to do this today is because of the public expose that was done by Jimi Wanjigi. We all need to appreciate also that Kenya is a crime scene. We all need to appreciate also, and this goes direct to Mheshimiwa Western Silaho, we all need to know that where we are, we have by all any measurable parameters come into conclusion that we have lost money to looters. That is one thing we have actually, from the social psychology that I did, all of us have accepted that we are actually dealing with looting and we have lost money. The other bit of it is to let you know that we are dealing with people in the same political, economic, and social class. Why we are discussing this issue here on platform, which is very key as a family, as Kenyans of goodwill and concern, is because we are united by one single enemy. And that enemy is the political class and people who have made us to be where we are. Life is so unbearable. People who have made our children cannot go to school, people who have made us not even to get 3 meals a day, and people who have made us to look like we can beg for jobs outside the country to our knees. So I want us to appreciate moving forward because this is a very, very emotive. I know from my co-host did say from the word go, we are dealing with a very, very emotional issue. I know if we were together in one forum, kuna ngumi sahi watu wangepigana. So I am praying as I drop because I have some class to attend, is that we will appreciate all of us for every contribution we are doing, and I want to plead with all of us that let's focus on the big animal, knowing very well that we have made all the appreciation that we have lost a lot of money in this country. We have lost a lot of money and resources. We are dealing with looters, and we are dealing with a political class that has lost direction. That is what is basically, that is one common denominator that is actually making us to go emotional, all of us. And that is one thing that has united us here. So as I drop and leave the mic to the host, let me say that moving forward, we got to focus on our debts and actually see what we can be able to do moving forward, and of course be in a positions to look at some of the strategies we can do, even if it is means dissolving the government tomorrow and sending them away. Thank you so much, host. Back to you. I hope you are available. You can take over.
Dr. dropped, and then thank you so much, guys. Who is coming next, Dr. AJ? As we winding up at the top of the hour, we have 5 minutes to go. Who is coming in?
We have TMP.
Okay, Dr. go on. We are finalizing at the top of the hour.
Great.
All right,
I'll be back soon.
Okay. Dr. who's coming in?
Hello.
I think I heard him say it was me. I'm not so sure.
Okay, go ahead, Nelly.
Okay, how are you?
It's not Nelly though. It's TMP.
TMP, go ahead.
So I hope everyone is all right who is in this space, and I have to begin by commenting on a few things the speakers who came before me said. And one of them is, it's quite unfortunate that we have to be saying we cannot afford to underestimate His Excellency, considering we're the same people who voted him. It's quite unfortunate. We have to be even making such comments, actually. And the other thing is about what I think it was Webb said regarding the whole thing of Ruto going is quite our way to go. So it's quite something. And finally, something just said about the interview from the XCS, that is Ndongo, what he said. And, coming out right and talking about the whole problem being ghost workers and, fake pensioners and a failing education system with nothing literally to be done about, and the solutions being offered still revolving around doing the same things. I mean, how much does it even cost literally to do a debt audit instead of, employee audit, instead of keeping on paying all these people who are not there, yet so many people are out here unemployed. And we're still being told there is no work. It's quite unfortunate. And also, forgetting about what Jimi Wanjigi said, let's just look at what is happening literally. When you go to places like a place where a project was launched, it's left halfway. SGR was supposed to go to Kisumu. Up to now, there is nothing like that. Stadiums, schools. The one from Gong the other day, students were the ones who are clearing. So leave alone what we're being told. We can see programs and projects all over the country being launched and being left, without being done. Billions of money being set aside and then nothing being done later. Stadiums, including a county like Isiolo, can afford to have over 20 million put there over the years and nothing being done. Literally, it's quite unfortunate. Schools in Garissa, students still doing that. So that is why I would encourage for all of us to start thinking about solutions and how are we going to, solve this? Because we clearly can see there is a problem. And instead of getting political, we need to look at these real issues. Like someone said, people are sleeping hungry out here. And many people wonder why things like TMP are here. Suicide, people death by suicide all over. People cannot afford education system nowadays. The school fees have gone extremely high. So that is why we need to have solutions. And we keep on encouraging a conversation. And the beginning of a conversation, or rather having a conversation all over the country, will help us set again the direction of this country. Because that way we're going to be able to prioritize matters affecting each area. Regions like, let's say, Garissa are then able to prioritize schools so that we don't have students anymore studying under a tree, surely, in the 21st century. Students, Turkana, Baringo, those right now, like the way the feeding program is about to be removed, how are those students even going to stay in school, honestly? There is no food. Their own county cannot produce food. Yet programs of so many programs and initiatives are being done, taking food, yet they cannot be provided with solutions. Say we had floods. There was a lot of rain. What happened to all that rain? Just went down the drain. We could have constructed something and helped those people even come up with, agricultural systems. We keep talking agriculture. I mean, what is so big about it? There was floods right here. There is even harvesting of water. Projects the other day, a couple of youths have a project on how to harvest water. Digging boreholes. That is something that is totally doable, and then promote agriculture in those areas. And then yet you still find things like priority being given to removing programs, school feeding programs. So once we set the tone of having a conversation, we're able to prioritize, different areas according to what is key for them. And having projects with timelines and time frames. If every county picks what projects they want, like let's say Garissa, I'm going to stick to Garissa because it's quite unfortunate that even up to date, this date students are studying under a tree. It's quite unfortunate. And so many other counties that I haven't mentioned, honestly. So like, let's say a county like Garissa comes up and they say they want schools. How many schools? Roads? How many roads? Boreholes? How many boreholes? How much money is set there? And then have watchdogs and channels, and make sure all this information is fed back to people. Let's have the right priorities, and at least reduce the greed. Corruption, I'm like, people steal and loot at the expense of everyone else. The other day, our old mama was crying, saying the way they can't even, things have gotten really worse. It's quite tough. They go to offices trying to talk to those people, to request for, help. It's quite unfortunate. The other day is a photo of an old woman kneeling down in front of a politician begging, Yet these problems can be solved. Again, also we as the people have become complacent because we want to leave everything to them. Let them solve. And it's quite, this is really good times to be in, because at least everyone is awake now. Because everyone can see the things that are affecting them, and now everything is affecting them. It's really amazing. And every day I wake up and I'm really happy because now everyone is keen. Because education system is a mess. Starting with the university, students are depressed left, right, and center. Students are committing suicide, crime. It's quite unfortunate. Go to the health sector, it's unfortunate. Trials being done on people, like, we are lab rats. So there's a lot.
Yeah. 1 minute, please, so that we can maybe capture the people who are remaining, because we have 40 minutes to go. So I think everybody should. Dr. is gonna take 3 minutes so that we can finish in time. Thank you so much.
Okay, so to finalize, I would say, with or without the help of the government, let's all make this our business. Let's have conversations. Let's change the tone of the conversation to educating people on how all these issues are affecting. And then maybe later they'll come on board, like they had said, national dialogue. We don't want national dialogues that are being done in boardrooms. And then when we do a conversation in every county with the local media doing coverages, every opinion being covered, and have a way forward and have a plan. Whether now people still want to remove them or let them stay, that is also another opinion. It's like someone said before, everyone is entitled to their opinion. But for us, we're focusing on the key issues which are affecting the common Mwananchi. That is education, that is agriculture failing, and businesses keep on closing every single day. And even the environment for, manufacturing and having other people come and set shop is not working. It's unfortunate still that we have the best of coffees, yet we still send it out and then have it processed over there, mixed up with a little bit of other coffees, and then it's brought back to us, and we pay instead of having those industries set up here. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, MP, for your sentiments, and also we appreciate your coming. And always, thank you so much. Nelly, go ahead, then Nelly, go ahead.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you for this time to have allowed me to have some 2 to 3 things to communicate, to put across. Besides what Wanjigi has told us, or he told us yesterday, you remember Onchoka, the senator from Kisii? The other time amekuwa kisakileta akituambia he is a senator, yes, lakini hata hajui date ya Kenya ni ngapi, and hawawezi kumpea makaratasi. So this being a senator, hawezi na anakaa pale na wao. Sisi huku nyuma tusipokuwa na nguvu zetu tutaenda namna gani? Remember kama government ya Ruto imeshikilia makoti. We might not get justice from the courts, as you know very well. Sisi lazima tufanye hii mambo ya Wanjigi alikuwa anasema there's a draft that is making behind. I pray that ikuje kwa haraka sana, sisi tusukume hii kitu. Nakumbuka hata county like Turkana, they are eating money, yet our kids up there, they don't have teachers. How can you expect one teacher with the sent there by TSC, employed by TSC, na madarasa iko madarasa 6 with other and UT ambao watoto wamaliza class 4 class because they know Kiswahili ndio wanakuja kufanya kazi na huyu mwalimu, na hii watoto they are also paying tax. You see how people are suffering out here kwa sababu pesa zinakuliwa na watu na hazifikili mwananchi. Nilikuwa naomba hivi, sisi tutoe mambo kwamba tundepoenda kwa serikali kule, Ruto anaweza kuwa hata naongea na kina Wahome pale. Tuachane na hiyo mambo. Tuone mambo yetu tunapopanga namna gani. Revolution ikikuja iende ianguke vile itakwenda. You remember Wanjigi alisema we can even rule this nation with 3 months or 4 months without the constitution. That's what he advised us. Alafu my advice also ni kwamba the music composers wako hapa. I wish wangeanza kuunda nyimbo pia tukienda zimbwe mpaka kijijini. Waunde nyimbo tu za kuleta revolution to at least zimbwe tena kijijini. That is the power of the music, what the music can do, as we did the other day. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nelly. Jaha, go ahead. Daktari, are you here?
Yes, Hillary.
Okay, Jaha, go ahead, then Babji, then George, in that order. Yeah, kwani si ufungue mic?
Okay. Hey, Hillary, can you hear me?
Hi.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Thank you guys for this forum. The first thing we need to ask ourselves is, why are we here? Why are we all here? There is a speaker who spoke before, and I would just like to respond for like a few seconds to him. Western was saying that Wanjigi is a man of two sides, same coin with two sides. We all know that. But the only appreciation we have for Wanjigi is very simple. Very simple. He brought this to light. Why are we talking about it? Why are we hearing someone saying that even the senator is not privileged to get this information?